Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The fallout from my interview with Leon Panetta, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Predictably, the former defense secretary is being attacked by some folks upset that President Obama is being criticized. Instead of debating what Mr. Panetta is saying, they're questioning his motives.
Panetta's out there trashing the president on his decisions he's made. Shouldn't there be a period of loyalty until maybe the election's put behind him?
There's nothing wrong with criticizing the president. But for a former trusted official to do so while the president is still in office, that's low. And a real blemish on Leon Panetta's record of service.
Bill O'Reilly gave half of his show to Leon Panetta tonight, hoping to emphasize a rift between the president and his former advisor.
Now, for the record, the MSNBC zealots are failing in the marketplace. Their ratings, always terrible, are getting worse. They've now fallen behind CNN. That's because you cannot get an honest assessment from that operation, which is in business solely to promote liberal causes. That being said, it's not only the left that is criticizing Mr. Panetta.
He was there to hammer Obama. He is a Clinton flunky.
Right, he's a former chief of staff.
And a manipulative, in my opinion, greedy profiteer. He's no statesman, this guy, I don't think. I know O'Reilly disagreed with me on that.
Now, the Panetta interview last night raised important national security questions and shed light on President Obama's leadership. And it's not only Leon Panetta who's troubled by America's receding power in the world. All the polls say everyday Americans are concerned as well and have little confidence that Barack Obama can protect them in an effective way. That's the crux of this matter, protecting you. There's no way on this earth that ISIS savages should be terrorizing the Middle East and threatening the entire world. Those thugs should have been dealt with a long time ago. The fact that they are allowed to run wild is disturbing in the extreme. And it's not just President Obama's fault. We're living in a cowardly world where villains know they can commit atrocities, violate international law, and generally do whatever they want without lawful nations confronting them. The fact that Turkey is allowing ISIS to murder civilians on their border says it all. The Turks should be ashamed. Add to that the lack of American leadership. That is where President Obama takes a big hit. It is up to him to rally the world against evil. We are the superpower. We are the nation that stands for freedom and justice. But from the very beginning, President Obama did not want that responsibility. He wanted America to be one of many nations. He wanted to see consensus about how to deal with difficult problems. Well, the abdication of leadership is not working. Our world is becoming more chaotic by the day. And for my money, Leon Panetta is doing the right and patriotic thing in pointing that out. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Join us from Reston, Virginia, Tim Graham from the Conservative Media Research Center. Here in the studio, Howard Kurtz, host of Media Buzz, seen Sundays at 11 a.m. on FNC. So putting MSNBC aside, the other national liberal media was kind of silent on the Panetta interview. And I think that they don't know exactly what to do here, because Panetta does have credibility.
I think many of these outlets are talking about their own interviews. Panetta's been everywhere as this side of Nickelodeon. You made news of that interview, no question about it. But I think the real story here, Bill, is the mainstream media embracing the Panetta argument. You have the Washington Post, Dan Balls, arguably the dean of the D.C. press corps, writing a column today saying that Obama should listen to Panetta. He has a lot of street cred with journalists who've known him going back to his days in Congress.
But he's a hard dude to guy, Balls. I'm talking about the ideological press. And you say, well, yeah, Mr. Panetta's been on the other networks. Come on. Did you see those interviews?
Well, he's talked to the New York Times and USA
Did you see the interviews?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I mean, it was grim.
You were very effective, I thought, at drawing out of him the details of what happened behind the scenes with the president. But I thought you were less effective when you were debating him and trying to get him to agree with your notion that the president doesn't have the stomach for the fight, the president isn't recognizing the danger.
Well, you have to get if he's
diplomatic.
Well, the mistake that you always make, Kurtz, is that you don't probe deep enough for the why of it. The what of it has been established, all right? And so then does he not have courage? Is he a frightened individual? Is he an incompetent individual? Wasn't debating. I was throwing it out to get the reaction. Now, Mr. Graham, you saw the interview, and you also saw the reaction to it in the national press, because that's what you do. You monitor these people. What's your assessment?
Well, you're right that it wasn't exactly on top of all the newscasts this morning. This is a devastating interview for Obama. I think that's one of the reasons why they don't want to pay attention to it. Howard may be right that they're trying to say, well, we'd rather pay attention to our own interviews. You know, when Panetta first gave an interview to 60 Minutes, the other two networks ignored it. They just don't like it. I think what they could have expected from you was, oh, well, Leon Panetta, now he's going to be a darling of the Republicans, so he'll get a softball interview on Fox. That is not at all what he got.
Well, there is a difference between facts, and we think we got a lot of facts, Mr. Graham, about President Obama's style. All right? So Leon Panetta, who clearly, both of you know, didn't want to assassinate Barack Obama. He was taking no delight in this interview. But the fact of the matter is that in Mr. Panetta's opinion, and I believe in Mr. Gates' opinion, the defense secretary before him, in Hillary Clinton's opinion, although she hasn't stated it yet, he's a weak leader. President Obama's a weak leader, particularly overseas. And that's what I was trying to get. Why is he a weak leader? He's got all the resources of the USA. Why is he? What is it about him? And that's where we went with it. And surely the mainstream media doesn't want to ask those questions. Forget about the answers. They don't want to ask it.
Well, it's especially upsetting, again, that you had this nice section on Benghazi, which is questions that most of the national press just can't manage to find the questions, let alone seek the answers.
They don't care about it.
I think that actually Panetta's answers on that were really weak. Nobody in America really believes that Hillary Clinton didn't know what was going on, and it's lame to try to suggest that Hillary Clinton, well, gee, how is it a good answer that she was too stupid to know what was going on in Benghazi? That's not a pro-Hillary answer.
Stupid. It was that she is at a certain level, and maybe these cables asking for more security didn't get. When she runs for president, she's going to have to answer those questions. Go ahead.
I'm going to disagree. I think that ever since Barack Obama pulled back from attacking Syria a year ago, and then, of course, not leaving forces in Iraq, that the press has been asking these questions. And don't you think, Bill, that it is fair to say, and I raised this question when Paul O'Neill and Scott McClellan wrote anti-Bush books about the president they served, that if Leon Panetta feels so strongly as a matter of conscience about the mistakes that Barack Obama made, why does he wait until he's got a book contract to go public with that?
Well, because he was basically serving and trying to convince the president to go another way. I mean, that's an easy answer for Panetta. He said, look, I mean, I'm there, and I'm trying to get him to do what's best for America. Where am I more effective, back in Monterey, California, or trying to get him what's due? But again, the why of this is what interests me, not the what. We know the what. I mean, nobody, even the MSNBC people, can't defend the what anymore. ISIS is out of control. It's out of control, okay? They're killing innocent people every day. We could have stopped it. We didn't stop it. Why didn't we stop it?
Well,
that is the crux of the matter.
It's true that we didn't try enough to stop it.
We didn't try at all to stop it.
I think that disillusioned left agrees, much of it agrees with Panetta's critique. The president has been...
You really believe they agree that Barack Obama's failing?
On foreign policy, yes.
You do?
I do.
You believe that, Mr. Graham? That the left-wing mainstream media...
No, I think there's a lot of people in
Obama's
Obama's base that don't want us to go to war for any reason at any time. That's the MoveOn.org base that elected Barack Obama.
So you guys disagree with that? You think that the mainstream left-wing media knows he's failed, but you, Mr. Graham, say you don't think they know he's failed?
I'll stand by
I think they know he's been ineffective, and they're trying not to talk about it. I mean, and when you bring up these other guys, when Paul O'Neill or Scott McClellan came out against Bush, they loved him. They couldn't get enough of
certainly
that.
The Bush
and now they're sitting here
failures.
saying this guy's disloyal.
Last question. Certainly the Bush failures were highlighted by the national media more than the Obama failures, certainly.
I think that's starting to be less true now that we're at war.